I have been called to answer many questions for survivors of narcissistic abuse who may and will often find themselves wondering this very question after they have left the relationship, and especially after they have gotten some distance through no contact. And I know I've answered this question in videos in the past, but this is probably one of the biggest questions that hangs on to a survivor's mind, and that is, did the narcissist really love me? Can he or she fall in love? Can he or she love at all? Can they love their children as mothers and fathers? And unfortunately, the answer is no. But you fell in love. I fell in love. You and I, we practiced and demonstrated and experienced a deep level of caring, honoring, sharing, understanding, forgiveness, hopefulness, empathy, kindness, connection, generosity, empathy, bonding, and appreciation. And you and I, we experienced an inner warmth and a desire to connect with this person, to forgive this person for their flaws and their shortcomings, their hurts, fears, upsets, and insecurities. Some of us may have even fought for our right to be loved well. Maybe we even became willing to forgive the lies in order to be loved. Maybe we became willing to minimize the pain that they were causing so that we could experience what we felt was love from the narcissist. You and I, we were willing to look at ourselves, to learn and to grow from the inside out. We did not pretend. We didn't say things to get people off of our backs who were never really on our back in the first place, or never had our backs in the first place. In fact, maybe someone's on our back and we find ourselves carrying them in many situations, and we as empaths can carry a great load, often without complaining. We didn't run the story of I'm a victim, everyone is out to get me, and no one really cares about me. We didn't run the story of me. You and I, we brought the story of an authentic we, the togetherness of comfort, of openness, of vulnerability, transparency, and willingness to love. We were bringing without ever thinking of taking, and we were bringing without the thought of return. You and I, we had the abundance, the overflow of love to bring to the table, to give and to share with everyone. We came from a place of freedom to love, freedom to be, and freedom to include. And we genuinely believed, because it is our very nature, that this person that we were with could receive it, return it, feel it, and know it as deeply as we do and probably still do. This is what we remember the most, the beginning of the relationship. And in those rare in-betweens, when suddenly it felt like an hour, a day, or a night, it's the beginning again. But it was never the beginning. There is no beginning. A person who came into your life, and my life too, acted out a role of falling in love. And because they needed you, and they needed me, to fill a role, to play a role, and to fill a vacancy inside, a void that has eaten these people alive. And it is nearly impossible to comprehend, literally impossible. And in my experience, I do believe that they do not know that they're pretending, and I do believe that they don't want to know. Some of them do know, but for the majority, they don't know, and they are not equipped to sustain and to manage that hurt that may come from knowing what they are. And I do believe they feel this, I do believe this is what love looks like, and feels like. What I believe the narcissist believes to be love. They believe love is control, power, strength, and domination over another, isolation from another, hostage taking, being in charge, being a victim, knowing where you are at all times, knowing what you're doing. The time of need is all of the time for a narcissist, paying for things when it makes them look good, withholding whenever they have been hurt, doing what they want to do when they want to do it, being right and being an authority all of the time over all people, doing things for other people because they cannot do them for themselves, being the center of attention, flowers too early, saying I love you after 1 week, phone calls all of the time, sitting at the head of the table, quiet in crowds when at an event, activity, or experience that is not about them, or talking too softly so people have to lean in to listen to them, like or they can be the opposite, talking too loud, as if shouting is the nature of talking, being admired, constant crisis, being sick and taken care of, but never ever taking care of you or acknowledging you when you are sick, negative surprises, never letting go, not telling you something because they don't think you need to know, never telling you the truth, especially because it will hurt you, warping relayed conversations with others about you so that they look good, passive aggression or aggression under the guise of passion, giving the silent treatment because they need the space and in the relationship, withdrawing without any explanation, sleeping in another room and or still being and spending time with you, sarcasm or joking at your expense, being worried about you when you are perfectly fine, blowing up your phone, questioning your mental health when you are perfectly balanced, and replacing your favorite activities with their own, pointing out when you're overreacting, ungrateful, or oversensitive, preying on your insecurities, acting like you need to be saved because you are broken, fixing you, informing you about people, the world, because you're too sweet, naive, and innocent to understand, preparing you for the real world, educating you because you clearly don't know what you are doing, jealousy, obsession, infatuation, possessiveness, marriage as a means to control and own, material stuff, often with strings attached, guilt tripping, playing on ideas and obligation of fear, sabotage, incessant complaining, betrayal, character assassination, verbal abuse that isn't real unless it's coming at them. Everyone's looking for a fight except for them, protecting themselves from imagined threats. That nice thing that they did a week or a month ago should sustain you for a very long time, telling people who you are with no need to show them. Words are more important than actions. Stalking, false threats of suicide. What's yours is mine, what's mine is mine. No boundaries, violation. Trust me when I don't trust you. Emotional bondage and captivity. Worshiping pain. Their pain is more important than yours. Seeing no wrong in themselves except at a shallow level. Manipulation, and no one would have an accurate memory other than them. Others should adjust their feelings, thoughts, needs, desires, conversations, and more to accommodate their needs, moods, desires, and experience of themselves. Love is the ability to empathize with your significant other, sharing feelings, caring, appreciation, respect, value, and also genuinely appreciating that person for who they are, which includes their emotions and not idealization, a form of infatuation or obsession with a specific person or thing. It does not include empathy. A narcissist is a grown-up with a body and mindset of a 4-year-old and operating from a 4-year-old's emotional level. They are your typical wounded child trapped in an adult body and mindset who never grew up emotionally and has no idea what empathy means from the childhood constant trauma and abuse. The development of empathy is the core part of personality. It starts developing from our childhood life, and for instance, for the child to reflect to people with empathy, he or she needs to receive empathy in return, meaning love, care, attention, appreciation, value, and so on from his or her parents. The empathy needs to develop early on in childhood, and I've spoken about this in several of my videos. The empathy that does not develop, it will stagnate the child and they will end up as an empty shell. And the main thing that's important to remember is that what makes a child is their emotional level. And you noticed early on that the child lacks emotional situations, for instance, when they are developing, since it takes time to develop. If a child approaches you randomly and slaps you on the face, you are hurt, while the child laughs their ass off, and your parents tell you it's just a child, come on, even though you are mad. That's the lack of empathy that a child has at their early stage of development. This is totally the same level of empathy that a narcissist operates from.